James, do you have any more questions for these guys? I want to flip gears a little bit.
I mean, we've had so many good memories, you know, playing at Patio, and we really rocked Park Street Complex, and a lot of the DJs listening to this podcast right now did. I won't forget the memories, guys. I know we could talk about Park Street Patio and all that shit for a long time, but I do want to switch gears too. So,
well, actually, that's kind of where I wanted to go, because we've talked in past podcasts at least 3 times about finally going into like Corruption Productions. Birdman was there for Corruption Productions. Flair was, I was. So I think this would be a good episode, man. Why don't you just talk about how Corruption Productions started, like the glory days, and then kind of how it ended, because I think that could kind of be a model for a lot of the younger guys to put together their promotion teams and understand how to, you know, fill a bar, and then what challenges eventually led to that disbanding.
Yeah, I mean, it started out when, you know, I started learning how to DJ through Matt and Aaron and Samurai a little bit after, and I took over the back room of Sugar Bar, and I had been partying my ass off on OSU campus. I was also working at Hollister, and I just had a huge fan or friend base, and we were doing house parties every day, and it was just crazy. So I knew I could get so many people that weren't already going out. And I think it was just my first 2 times playing at Sugar, you know, Swanson, one of the owners at the time, was like, dude, is this all your people? And like, I'm just like, yeah, it's cool. And then I started to realize, like, that's a good thing. Like, okay, so as I learn how to become a better DJ, and I'm not that great yet, I can at least get the support in here and learn as I go. And I think it just got huge, man, because I ended up connecting with fraternities and sororities at Capital and Ohio State and you know, all those places. And then next thing you know, I have 20 to 25 promoters that are crazy connected. We got buses, we got the works. I mean, and then I found out what tools I had to play with. I found out Swanson, what are you going to give me to work for? Or what are you going to give me that I can give incentives to my promoters, and so they can actually take this seriously. And it was enough, because when you're young, you just want to take care of your friends. That looks cool. And then that is how Corruption Productions died as well, man. At age, my promoters got older. It was harder. It actually lasted for like 8 years, maybe less, maybe like 7, but which is crazy, because, you know, you have 4 years of people in college. I did re-up my promoters. I renewed my promoters, but then it got harder as I got older, and it got more stressful too, because as I got older, I felt like I was dealing with just young
children.
Yeah. So I eventually switched gears from it, but it was a huge step for me, using Corruption Productions to get to where I was. And when I finally figured out how to be a decent DJ, I was like, I don't need this anymore. It was fun. I did a lot of college parties. I was doing 4 college nights a week. I mean, we started Cantina, we started Saloon, we started Sugar 2, we started Long Street. We did all that. And since then, downtown's never been the same. Mm-hmm. So I look back on it, and I appreciate everyone that was on board with it. And I also appreciate all the DJs I learned from. I even appreciate all the shit I got, because it made me a better and tougher DJ. It made me learn how to be humble and take criticism. So the whole journey was huge. This was pre-production days. It was all about promotion. It was all about bringing people out. That was it. College nights were different too, because these kids, they didn't really pay attention to your sets. College crowds, they just come to get drunk, right? And dance.
Exactly.
And hit on girls. Right. Some of them do. Some of them pay attention, but not really. So you were able to just kind of experiment a lot, and I was able to find what exactly I really enjoyed playing. And then, you know, when you get to 21 and up bars, you don't need that whole promotion team, but I still had a few people hang with me, and, you know, I still wanted to have some support like that. So the Corruption Productions, I have it tattooed on my arm because it just reminds me of where everything began.
Mm-hmm.
So that was it.
I'll tell you, James, one thing, like, as a old guy here, I remember when your name and your crew first started to kind of make a scene in that industry, you know, I was like, I admired that, because us old schoolers, we would have our friends come out and it'd be maybe 10 or 15 people, because we didn't have the social media and the tools that you said that Swanson was giving you at the time.
Correct.
So we never thought about taking it to the next level. So you were kind of, in my mind, one of the first, if not the first, you know, dare I say, digital age DJ, because you're obviously not digital age, but when I say that, I mean, you were the next one in terms of, you know, taking advantage of the MySpace and the Facebook and the Twitter and all these other things that this older guy, myself, and some of the other ones I knew with were kind of, you know, we were lacking behind on. So I enjoyed being able to kind of go along for the ride, if you will, because, you know, I had spent many years doing campus bars and moved my way around. And then when you had done the Corrupt Production stuff down at the patio and they expanded, you know, it was nice because I had been at one point when it was Sugar in the back room when Samurai was up front, but now we were here and we were living the wave, and you know, your promotions was bringing all these people in, and then the DJs in the other rooms that were benefiting from all of this, you know, hosh posh and mixing and matching was, you know, it was a good time, man. It was
I wouldn't say you guys were behind on anything. I think before I came into the picture, promoting was not a part of DJing. It just wasn't. It wasn't needed. There was promoters. There was promoters that handled all that stuff. So like when I first started coming to Sugar, before I even started DJing, and I would just get a table and hang out with the DJs, I noticed like they had like 10 promoters and they had huge guest lists.
And one of my best friends is Avi Rosen and Sean Dolan. Yep. They were promoting.
Sean Dolan, man. Legend.
These were two of my best friends in college. But yet we never thought about putting our talents together and like, hey, put me on stage. Because Samurai was my boy and he was having a great time killing it. So we just, you know, that's why when you came along, it was like, man, you could take the two and put it together. I remember, God rest his soul, Tyler, DJ 550, okay? When he was at Big Bar, and this was before Kyle got there. And I think, Mike, you might have been there with him at this point in time. And me and Matt and Aaron came in. And I don't know why they were changing things up, but I remember telling Tyler, I said, hey, you know, you could either be a DJ or a promoter, but you can't be both. You have to work with the other one, because if you try to be both, something's going to suffer, because eventually age gets to you, like you said, Corrupt. And then the promoter is not as important because it's harder to get people. I'm 40. You think I'm going to be able to go down to campus and bring 22-year-olds out? Probably not.
Exactly. So, so what I did is, instead of promoting to young college kids, I switched that same hustle onto just my brand.
Yep.
And that way you're not directing your attention on, you know, a theme party or something like that. You're literally promoting your music, your DJing style. But to get back to what you were talking about with the promoters, it's so funny because when I actually started building guest lists at Sugar Bar, Sean Dolan was like, how's your list getting longer than me? This is bullshit. And he'd smoke his cigarette. I'm like, dude, I don't know. Dude, it was so funny. Him, you know, Chad Reedmiller.
Yeah, Chad.
Big shot, Sam Henley.
Yeah, Sam came in.
Yeah, Sam.
So Sam, when Corruption Productions was slowly fading away, Sam was my secret weapon because I saw the potential he had. And I was like, hey, man, what do you think about Corruption Productions? You want to be my partner? Because I knew that because if I didn't take him in, he was going to just crush me.
Yeah.
I mean, he was just coming in. He was a very intelligent guy, knows how to socialize with people. And I miss the times we had. We kind of just split our different ways, but I mean, he was like a best friend for a long time because we were
Always
working
together.
on everything. Yeah. But just crazy how life works. I'm glad that I'm away from the college nights, but I also appreciate what it did for me.
I think if I had to, and all the promoters know me. I have good promotion with like most of them. I have to give it to Sam. It's probably like my favorite promoter of all time because there was never any drama. He did his thing. He was effective. Flew under the radar. Like I think if you were a guest, you knew who he was, or like a DJ in the know. But like you couldn't pick him out of a crowd as like the promoter for the night. I don't know. I always thought I was respecting Sam for that.
Yeah, that's one reason I liked Avi, because he was the same way. People wouldn't have picked him out of the crowd. We were always so close, and it was because we were friends. Like, other people took advantage of him and other promoters, you know what I mean? And you saw that happen quite often. So shout out to those guys.
Yeah, man. Avi is a great dude.
And then we're running out of time, guys. Where can people find you online? What are your social media handles?
Cody, you wanna go?
Oh man, I don't even remember all mine. I think my Twitter is at DJ BYRDMAN1. The guy who has DJ Birdman hasn't posted in 7 years. I messaged him. I was like, bro, I'll pay you $20 for it. And he's never even opened the damn thing. So I think I'm stuck with that. I think I have Birdman4811 on Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook should be Birdman4811. And that's pretty much it. I couldn't even tell you my SoundCloud. That goes back to the whole mixes thing. Last time I made a mix, I couldn't tell you, so I don't even know what my SoundCloud name is.
That's
DJ FLAIR, what's up?
Yeah, so much like James said earlier with branding, DJ FLAIR is what people call me. FLAIR Entertainment is the name of my business. DJ FLAIR is kind of what I've led with because it's branded better than FLAIR Entertainment. So you can find me anywhere by just searching DJ FLAIR, FLAIR. But primarily I'm on Instagram, DJ FLAIR1. And on Facebook, we have our business page, DJ FLAIR Columbus. But, my website is musicwithflair.com. So, most of my stuff is primarily based on weddings and private party bookings and such now. So that's where you would find me there. I do have mixes on Mixcloud if you search DJ FLAIR. But again, my focus has mainly been on that wedding stuff with musicwithflair.com.
And guys, big shout out to 614. 614 partners with us. And I'm going to remember the word this time, James. They do really great apparel, bracelets, T-shirts, all stuff that's very Columbus-based. So we try to give them a shout out every episode. And as I was talking about earlier, Intel released clips. And I actually found that out by MailChimp. DJs, if you do not have a MailChimp, and especially producers, if you release a project, if you have a song out, making sure that you get it out to your MailChimp followers is a really good way to circumvent the algorithms of social media. And I've talked about that before. And then I just want to know, do you guys have any shout outs to give before we let James wrap this up?
Shout out to my boss, Chang.
We don't need to shout out Chang.
No, I'm going to anyways. I owe him a lot. He teaches me a lot every single day. Shout out to the guys I work with, Connor, Trevor, Mitch. Shout out to my mom and dad. I think they're still watching. Hi.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
And I think that's it for right now.
Cool. FLAIR?
I want to shout out to everybody that joined in to listen to me rant. Thank you, Kyle, for pointing that out. It comes with passion, man. So I want to thank the people that came in, but more importantly, I want to thank you guys because, what you're doing for Columbus by putting this podcast together is a really good thing. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. And I think, you should not just invite the ones that you do know, but maybe invite some ones you don't, simply because I think it would be really fun to hear some things from people that maybe we don't know so much about in the city. I know you had mentioned, Tyler, you don't know, or mentioned that you, Mike, that you don't know Tyler too well. I think he'd be a great person to have on, especially with what he's doing for some of the artists that he's working with right now. So I think it would be great to see some other people, like that too. I think it's fantastic what you're doing already, man. And I'd love to see some of the older people that may not be DJs, but like you said, maybe some promoters. Get Mike G on here per se, you know, someone like that. Someone that we'd love to hear, even older than myself. I'd love to hear Samurai talk.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him in a long time.
Yeah, here's what I'll say about that. For anyone watching and who wants to be on the podcast, the best thing you can do is be a part of the show before you're a part of the show, right? Like we do this at the same time every Thursday. You know, James does a really good job of following up on the Facebook chat, seeing who's in there, and then asking, like, you know, I mean, Birdman, you were on here because you asked me, right? You said, hey, there's some things I want to talk about with this. I know you were watching the show because you saw that there was like something that you could add to the show and provide value, right? And it's not just to get on this podcast. In anything that you guys want to do, find a way to add value, and trust me, it's not hard to get on this podcast. Like you just ask and be in the chat, show some love, and you know, you guys can be on here. This isn't like a gatekeeper type deal. You know, we plan on doing this for a very, very long time. We know how many DJs are in Columbus. You know, show some love and we'll give love right back. James has done that at Dahlia forever. He's one of the best in the city at just, you know, giving people shots. I mean, probably second to Nick Reed. And I think, James, you'd say that even yourself.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
Yeah, if you guys want to be on the show, this isn't like some kind of like, you know, DJ's club or anything like that. Like, just let us know. Tell us how you can provide value. And the easiest way to provide value is just being in the chat, you know, showing up on episodes, and then just letting us know that you're ready. Is there anything else you want to add to that, James?
No, we really appreciate you guys coming on. Like I said, one of my favorite things is catching up with everybody, and hopefully, you know, it won't be a year before we reconnect, and hopefully, you know, things will get back to normal sooner than later, and, you know, we can start supporting each other better. But, you know, we had some really good times, and I hope your guys' businesses get better and heal through all this, because I know that we're all struggling a little bit. So
for sure. Yeah, guys, thank you so much for being here and answering the questions.
Thank you for having me.
And sorry, James, we're a little bit late, but let's close it out. Guys, episode 17 is in the books. We'll see you next Thursday. If you're watching on YouTube, like the video so the DJs can find it, comment with questions, people you want to see on the show, and just anything you think that would help. And obviously subscribe to the channel if you want more gear reviews, you know, Q&As and everything like that. But I think that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Peace. We out.
See you in the gulag.